Hi everyone, and welcome to the Second Spring YouTube channel, where we help growth-oriented people succeed in an online world. Today is our very first video. My name is Darren, and today's video is focused on what to do about e-commerce in your business, and it's more geared towards beginners. There's tons of great content out there on how to do e-commerce, things like how to set up your Shopify store, how does dropshipping work, or how to issue a refund. But there's not much info out there on what to do about e-commerce. Things like what happens after my store is launched and what can I do to keep growing my online store. E-commerce is definitely about selling things online, but there's way more to the story than that. To break it all down, we're going to look at our thinking tool called the e-commerce customer loop. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so what to do about e-commerce? So as I mentioned briefly in the intro video there, is the tool that we're going to be using today to help guide this discussion is the e-commerce customer loop. And as you'll see here, the e-commerce customer loop does a great job of breaking down the main 5 pillars when bringing in e-commerce into your business. And these include attract, sell, deliver, satisfy, and grow. And what we'll do is we'll spend time going into each of these 5, talking about some basics and as well as some next steps you can take within your business. So number 1, attracting customers to your online store. You know, this really is the big opportunity online, which is building that marketing engine for your store, getting that traffic flowing in, and ultimately having conversions and having people make purchases on your store. So what are the basics in the world of attract? Well, number 1 is getting very, very clear on who are your customers. And to do this, you want to ask yourself questions such as, what are they like? How do you talk to them? How do you show up for them? And how do you find them? A great activity here is to maybe create a persona or 2 to describe your ideal customer. Start to understand things like, where are their online hangouts? Are there any influencers that they follow? Dig into some demographics and some psychographics, really trying to understand what would encourage your ideal customer to buy and what would discourage them from buying. Very, very important questions to get clear on. And some next steps you can take is you can start exploring the world of search engine optimization. So here you really want to get clear on your keywords, words that you want to own and be associated with your brand, and finding ways to rank highly on Google search traffic. Some other next steps here are starting to play with online advertising. So this can include things such as paid Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Wherever you think your customer will be spending their time, that is a great place to spend your money on and create some ads for. Also, it might make sense for you to look at influencer marketing. Are there any people out there with a large social media following who align with your brand, your product, and your message? So these are some great steps and tips to get started in the world of attract. Next, how do you sell your products online to your customers? So one thing that's really important to get clear on and a decision you'll want to make early on in your e-commerce journey is, should you spend time on an e-commerce platform or an e-commerce marketplace? By a platform, what we mean here is things like Shopify or BigCommerce. These e-commerce platforms is where you really own the brand, the website, the entire customer experience. So that's what we mean by an e-commerce platform. On the other hand, an e-commerce marketplace, some examples here are things like Amazon, Walmart e-commerce, a place like Etsy. So a marketplace is what you're really leveraging here is the already established brand and traffic of the marketplace. You use that to sell your products. So for your business, it may make sense for you to use an e-commerce platform, a marketplace, or maybe even both. Some other things you want to get clear on are your product catalog. What are you actually going to be selling online? Are you going to have a really large product catalog or a really small focused one? You also want to think about pricing. How much are you going to sell these products for? You want to make sure that your customers are comfortable paying these price, but you also want to make sure that you're capturing high enough margins to keep your business afloat. You also want to consider payments. What's payments going to look like on your store? How can you be sure that your customers' payments are safe, secure, and easy? And the last basic here is shipping fees and tax. One of the biggest deterrents from people completing an online purchase is getting surprised at high shipping fees. So spend a lot of time here deciding what your shipping fees will be and if there's any opportunity for you to offer free shipping. Some next steps, starting to create discounts and gift cards just to really immerse your customers into the purchasing experience, giving them some money off where it makes sense. You might want to look at loyalty programs. So how do you keep your customers buying from you over and over again? Or how do you get them to refer your brand or your product to a friend? And some other things in the realm of selling online is you want to make sure that your website is friendly for recommendations, reviews, and testimonials. All right, so your customers have bought from your store. It's time to make sure that those products get delivered to their doorstep. So what are the basics of delivery? Well, the big one here is order fulfillment. So depending on how you're configured, you may be set up to do fulfillment yourself. If that's the case, you want to be really clear on what happens when somebody makes an order. How do you make sure that that product is picked, packaged, and ultimately shipped to their door? And then while exploring the world of fulfillment, you may want to look at things like drop shipping or utilizing a 3PL or a third-party logistics provider. But beyond fulfillment, you want to make sure that you have order tracking in place. So you're able to send a tracking number to your customer to make sure that they can track the status of their order. As they're tracking the status of their order, you want to make sure that you send your customer status updates. So things like when their order is processed, when it's en route, and when it ultimately arrives to their door. And you also want to investigate selecting a shipping partner. Does it make sense for you to use something like a Canada Post or a US Postal Service? Or can you get better rates with someone like FedEx or UPS? So some next steps with regards to delivering. You may be getting interested once you have the basics under your belt on expanding your shipping geography. So you will want to start looking at how shipping can work in different countries or how shipping works overseas. As I mentioned, shipping rates are very, very important when it comes to customers completing their purchases. So you will want to start investigating ways to reduce your shipping rates. Maybe it's time for you to select a new shipping partner, or maybe you can enter negotiations with your current shipping partner to keep reducing those rates. And a good next step here is, as your store grows, maybe it's time to consider a shipping partner like a third-party logistics provider. This can allow you to reduce your shipping times and expand your geographical reach. So as you advance in the realm of shipping, really encourage you to check out the world of 3PLs. All right, so you've attracted customers to your store. You've sold them your products. You've made sure that their products have been delivered to their door. And now what's next? Well, this to me is the most important step on the e-commerce customer loop. And we really do recommend you save some time and energy for this. And that is making sure that your customers are satisfied. So what are the basics of customer satisfaction? Well, the first one here is just making sure that you're set up for clear and easy to follow customer contact options. These can include things like a helpline for your customers to call, maybe an email. You can also start looking at things like chat bots or customer contact forms. No matter the case, you want to make sure that it's very straightforward and easy for your customers to get in touch if they need to. Another basic here is making sure that you have your store policies set up. So policies can include things like your shipping policies, your refund policies, your return policies. Whatever the case, want to make sure that these are published on your store and easy to find. And lastly, here are product guarantees. So your business may have a guarantee such as a 30-day return, no questions asked. Whatever your guarantee may be, you want to make sure that that is clearly displayed on your store. We recommend putting it right there on the homepage, but definitely on checkout when your customers are selecting their products. Some next steps in the world of customer satisfaction. There's no better way to learn about your business than directly interacting with your customers. So we really do encourage you to look at customer satisfaction surveys, asking your customers, hey, what are we doing great at? What is not so good? What can we improve? Really, really encourage you to get chatting with your customers. You really can learn so much from them. You can also look at expanding your online service channels. I mentioned earlier, setting up a chat bot might be a great new and improved service channel, or maybe going beyond just a basic FAQ and launching a knowledge base for your products, especially if your offerings are a bit more technical. But really, the ultimate here in the world of customer satisfaction is setting up your customers to serve themselves. So if you're able to provide your customers with the right tools, the right information to help themselves, that is the best case scenario. Customers now more than ever are becoming really self-sufficient, really educated, and the more they can help themselves, the happier they will ultimately be. All right, so the last stop here on the e-commerce customer loop is growing your online store. And growing your online store to me really is a mindset. Once you've made it through your first lap of the e-commerce customer loop, you really want to start thinking, hey, how can we start growing or improving the different parts of the loop? So by this being a mindset, you really want to prioritize any opportunities you can see in your path for growth. Some of these growth opportunities might be pretty obvious, like, hey, maybe we should just spend more on marketing, but some of them might not be so obvious. Maybe there's somebody hidden in your network who you can reach out to, who can, serve as an influencer or help you get your brand out there. So really just adopting that continuous mindset of growth is really, really key here. Another really important thing is to use those metrics. A lot of e-commerce platforms and marketplaces do a really awesome job at serving up to you metrics, metrics such as store traffic, return customer rate, conversion rate, abandoned cart rate. All of these metrics are great to measure at a monthly or even quarterly level. And it's great to set benchmarks and set growth targets off of these metrics. And lastly, here, you want to think of ways to move your customers more quickly through the loop. So as you're thinking about the loop and you're thinking about how customers and their relationships grow with you, are there any ways that you can move customers more quickly through this process? Perhaps your checkout page is a little bit too complex or has one too many clicks. That's a great, sort of way of thinking about how to move customers more quickly. Are there ways to remove any friction? Are your customers getting annoyed with too many pop-ups on your website? Is your product catalog just too complex or too confusing? Again, really want to remove any friction and make the whole process smoother for your customers. And lastly, you can look at creating a larger loop. So can you start growing your team? Maybe it's time for you to grow a customer success team, or maybe it's time for you to grow your marketing team. Whatever the case here, growing your e-commerce customer loop can really help you to ultimately grow your online store. So that's it for today's video. I really hope that we were able to give you a well-rounded view of the e-commerce customer loop and the entire e-commerce customer journey and the mindset that you have to take when approaching your online sales. And here at Second Spring, we actually offer our e-commerce masterclass here. And for the folks viewing the video today, we really encourage you to check out our masterclass. I'll drop the link in the description below. But for the viewers watching today, we're happy to offer you our first module for free. So this masterclass has a total of 8 modules, and we really deep dive into the e-commerce customer loop. And what makes this masterclass a little bit different than the others is not only do we deliver some awesome content up to you, but you'll walk away with a full suite of easy to use tools that you can use to keep growing your online store. So definitely check out our free module 1. Again, we'll drop the link in the description box below. And yeah, thank you so much for checking out our video, for learning a bit more about e-commerce today. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. See you.